This is not my first time presenting this, but this is definitely my first presenting in a long time. Also my first doing it online. So the experience is very new, and I'm very thankful to the online club for giving me this opportunity. Very new opportunity for me. So this was taken last in 2018, and until today I still feel very blessed to be standing on this stage and representing Singapore. Was it something that I planned to do? Definitely not. I did not expect to even go to the district level, much more Chicago, represent Singapore. So you might already guess the significance of my trip to Chicago last year, and which is why since I returned, I made it my mission to share my lessons, my learnings with all of you, because I definitely did not do this myself. Write for the ears. Okay, writing for the ears. Okay, this is really something that I am thankful to the coaches that I've engaged during on my journey to Chicago. I engaged a few coaches, some pro bono, some not, but all of them were really, really helpful. And I learned this from Kresian Vasilev. He was, I think, 2013 champion for WCPS. He's from Chicago, 28 minutes. See how the first thing that he taught me was to keep things short and simple. You will see his pattern in his speech. It's really simple, short, easy to understand. I will go through with you the journey, my journey, on how I shortened my speech. This is how my first version of my speech looked like. In the first minute of my speech, in terms of the syllables, how many of you are not familiar with syllables? Syllables means the number of sounds in a word. So my name is Wiwik. That means it's a 2-syllable word, Wiwik. Okay? So in the area speech, my first minute of my speech, the speed that I was going at was at 2 syllables per second. So it sounds like this. No. Yeah. Okay? That is 2 syllables per second. And then, as I moved up to division speech, I went to 186 syllables per minute. That's like 3 syllables per second. It's like dancing a tango. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this was all done unintentionally because I just thought I had something more to say. And after the area speech, my speech was good enough. So I thought, okay, people wanted to hear more from me. So I add more words, more sounds, bigger words. And that was exactly what I did. On my district speech, I mellowed down a little bit. It went back to 2 syllables per second. And then I got coaching. I got coaches to help me with my speech. And it dropped to, ta-da, 1 syllable per second. This is how it sounds like. It is the sound of water dripping from your tap if you did not turn off tight enough. It's that calming sound. And imagine that sound to be a speech. Being mindful of choosing short and simple words, short and simple syllables in your words would really create a big impact. Because we have to remember, when we do communication, our main mode of communication is speech, verbally. So if we were to have so much sound just loaded to a person's ear, how much really can a person listen to? And of all that thing that person is listening to, how much of it is important? Removing the fluff from your speech takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of rewriting. Darren Lacroix said that a great speech is not written, it is rewritten. So it gets shorter. Yeah, Panos. It gets shorter when you repeat it. That's why the first lesson is the most important for me. It gets shorter when you repeat and repeat, and when you do that, you distill your speech and only keep the most important parts of your speech. And when you are able to do that effectively enough, then you'll be a more effective and efficient speaker. To the people who listen to you, they will also not feel that their time is wasted listening to unnecessary jargons. So what that I did to make this change happen was my speech was about procrastination. In my first version, I used the word procrastination a lot. That's like procrastination, huge monster word, 5 syllables. And I use that at any point of time. When I want to see a person is procrastinating, I actually use that word. So imagine this one word repeated several times in that 5 to 7 minutes. It will definitely give the audience a headache. And the semi-final speech, the winning speech, I changed these 5-syllable words to mean the same thing, but to a word that only has 1 syllable, and that is wait. So if you've seen my semi-final speech, for those who have, my title is What Are You Waiting For? And the bulk of my speech, I wrote it to use that just one word that ties down the whole thing. Wait, wait. My kids make me wait. My husband make me wait. I made my grandfather wait. That's it. So just simple things like that will really reduce the number of syllables that you use in your speech. So try it out in your next, when you want to write your next speech. Just be very mindful to choose short and simple words. You'll be very surprised the impact it has in simplifying your speech. The next way to write for the ears is to focus on your pauses and phrasing. Now, I need all of you to look at the screen right now because you will need to see what I'm going to share with you. This is how my first version of speech looks like. This is how I wrote it. And I'm pretty sure most of us write like this because this was how we were taught in school. This is how we write compositions, or this is how, when you were to read a book, a novel, it's written like this. 1 point, 1 paragraph, another point, another paragraph, and that's it. Nothing wrong with it, right? So most of us are very familiar with this way of writing. And when I went to the district level, and there were more elements of having it more purposefully done on the stage. So I treated my speech as a script. So I used Excel. I numbered my lines, 1 line, 1 number, 1 statement, 1 line, and then I went on and on and on. I numbered it. So you can see here, move up, move up, move up, never mind. Okay, you can see here, this is paragraph number 1, this is paragraph number 2, and move on, so on and so forth. When I won the district level, I sent this version, this script of mine, to Presian, the one in Chicago. And this was what he said. Vivek, I have coached so many people around the world. You are the first person to send me your script in Excel. Do all Singaporeans do that? And I was quite shocked at his resistance to it. I thought it was a brilliant idea to write my script like a stage script, you know, with all the numbers and lines. And he said, this is not the ideal way for him to write. And he suggested, he showed me why he disagreed with this. He said, if you were to take this and turn it 90 degrees to the left and put bar graphs to each and every line that I have here, it will look like this. So this is what my speech sounds like to your ears. I'll be loading you with sharp and uneven lines. Sometimes I say long things and then I pause, and then I say short lines and then I pause. It's a very irregular way of speaking. And that really impacts the person's. It's like adding a lot more distractions to a person's speech. Again, when you are presenting, your main mode of communication is your voice, your speech. The way you sound is very important. What you say is very important. The visual effects are not the main mode of communication. It's really what you say and how you say it. So if you're going to use sharp and uneven lines, sometimes you say very long things and then you say very short lines. These are unnecessary distractions to a person's ear, and that would really, who's that? I did not draw that. Who drew this? Okay, where was I? It would really affect a person's ability to follow my speech when I write like this. So when I went through the grilling session, refining my speech with my coach and going from clubs to club just to rewrite my speech, my semi-final speech, the one with 66 syllables in a minute, this is how short it looks like. This is a total of 56 words, if I'm not mistaken, in 1 minute. It looks significantly less than this, right? The second version, and looks definitely much less than this. I didn't even know that I spent 1 minute saying like this, and this is upon now looks more like more even. It's like a song. So more rhythmic, people can anticipate what I am going to say or how my speech is going to sound like. So it's more acceptable to the person's ear. I have reduced the distractions for the audience significantly by focusing on my phrasing. So how I get this is, if you were to look, this is what I say, and then this is where I pause. I don't use full stop. I don't use comma when I write my speeches anymore. So if I were to pause, like contest chair, friends, pause. I take a breath, and I say, how do you feel? Pause. I take a breath, and then when someone pause, keeps you waiting. So that's how it sounds like. So this is how I write my speech from now on, because it really helps me be very mindful.
No more questions?
And Tomato has a little question.
Yes, is that you who drew all those things? Huh?
No, I only circle your away only.
Okay, so it's you.
It's only, I think there are some other people who also drew also. And
Yes.
they use the feature of Zoom. Question to you, how do you manage to slow down your vocal rate at the district level? After the district level?
After the district level, how did I slow down? I got scolded by my coaches. No lah. It's all the way until district, until district. I was just writing the way I was taught, which was by my teachers, and my teachers only taught me composition. So I just wrote that way. And I had a little bit of experience doing staging. That's why I had that idea to write in script form. But even then, it was only after coaching then I realized that those were very different. That way of speaking is very different from writing for the ears, writing to deliver a speech and not a lecture or a presentation. So every occasion requires a different kind of writing. So in writing an inspiring speech or a motivational speech, those that maybe for TEDx or for Toastmasters contest, that manner, the way the short and simple, focusing on phrasing, those work better. So yeah, how short and simple, focus on phrasing.
Okay, now then that means I have to uncomplicate myself further again.
Yeah,
Hello.
you're a very complicated person. So simplify yourself, brother.
Okay, yogurt girl.
Yes, Angela.
Thank you for most enlightening speech. What I want to know is two things. One, how do you know how many syllables you're speaking? Do you record yourself or do you look at what you've written down?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And before I forget, the second thing is, when you write songs, a ballad has a long line and then a short line, a long line and then a short line. The classic ballad is something like 8-6-8-6. And you're taught that when you're writing songs, that people get bored with sentences that are all the same, and you should do a long and then a short to create a rhythm or a contrast. So how does that fit in? Is it different to what you're saying or is it similar?
Similar. Okay. Before you forget, and now I'm trying to recall what you said.
The first thing is, how do you count the syllables?
Okay, the first
second
one.
thing is, should you have sentences long and short, or what do you do with them?
Okay, great. The
Syllables
first one,
and then
syllables.
sentences.
How do we count? Okay, this is how my coaching session would look like or sound like. I would present my script to my coach, and he would go through word by word with me. And when we discuss the words, every single word, he said, is there an easier way to say this line? Is there a simpler word for this? Is this word, okay, for one example, in my speech, there was one story where I talked about throwing the trash. My husband, when I ask him to throw the trash, he doesn't, and he waits. I'm sure many of us in this house, in this screen, don't throw your trash on time when people ask you to correct. See, I see guilty faces everywhere. I see Chintek suddenly stand up. Just not lying down, not seated up. Are you supposed to throw rubbish somewhere? The thing is, in my first version of the speech, I did not use the word trash. I used the word rubbish because it was a word more commonly used in Singapore. And when I presented it to my coach, he said, we don't use that word in US. We use the trash more. And he said, rubbish, trash will stay, rubbish go out. So that's just how it is. We just simplify. We find very different words and we choose the easiest of it. Also because when I went to the convention in Chicago, even though Toastmasters' main language of communication is English, many of the people attending were not native language speakers, English language speakers. So most of them have English as their second language. So if we use very difficult words or complex words, many of them don't understand. And the thing about articulating and pronouncing very heavy syllable words is you need to make sure that you enunciate your words properly, and it's tougher to do that in a 5 to 7 minutes. But if you use shorter words, simpler words, it's easier to pronounce, it's harder to mispronounce, and people will get the words and the meaning behind those words easier. So he said, write as though you're writing for primary 2. Primary 2 is what? Who's primary 2? What's primary 2 in the US?
Grade.
Grade.
Second grade.
Second grade, yeah. Right as though it's for second graders. So actually when I was practicing, I practiced my speech in front of my kids as well, and they understood it. They understood it so well that they could repeat my speech until today. The contest ended 2 years ago. They still like say my speech exactly the way I did. So yeah. Oh well. Okay. Any other questions? Oh wait, second question.
The second half about the length of sentences.
Okay. When you mentioned that just now, you did mention the answer there as well. You said a long line and a short line. A long line and a short line. And you said 8 and 6. 8 and 6. The key is to write it evenly. It doesn't necessarily need to be short, but it has to be even. It has to be something that is a rhythmic. There is a rhythm to it. So in music, and I have musical background, when I, you learn in terms of bars. They go by bars, one bar, and then there'll be some notes, and then another bar, and then some notes. So you treat it as that. And the notes, individual notes per bar would symbolize the sound that you give to the audience. So those are the words that you give to the audience. For me, personally, I like those that are 4/4 in the tempo. So 4/4, that's the easiest ones. Okay, yeah, thanks, Dennis.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very good. You actually covered a lot of other things. I listened to Darren LaCroix's information, and you picked up on some other things that he doesn't cover. And so there's very good points that you made for us. Thank you very much.
Oh, yay, thank you.
All right, so Willie, so we take a break.
There's pictures of the people who helped me to simplify that message. This is Presian Vasilev, the one from Chicago. This is Darren Tay and Manoj, the two Singaporeans who won first. I'm supposed to be number 3, or they hope that I was number 3. Well, oh well. Next time, okay? Next time. Okay.